Hey, Whammy. So this is a video that is like adding on to the Turkey's Opinion video about us content creators telling you about our experiences with guns. I'm going to speak it from the point of someone who's seen hundreds, thousands, literally thousands and thousands of guns being shot at a range and even my rental guns. And these are guns that are getting hundreds of rounds every day, hundreds of rounds. Okay. And not excluding customers' guns, regular customers that come in, some of them every couple days, some of them once a week. I knew the guns they had. I knew how often they came, how many, et cetera, et cetera. And so when you see it that's an eagle's eye view of the situation. So what I mean by that is most people in the gun community, when we talk about guns and we talk about the reliability of guns, when we do a review, we are talking about a sample of one. And some of us will tell you that, right? Some of us will say this is a sample of one. But what that means, though, in detail, is that you would have to get something more so like 20 guns. I prefer 100 guns of the same gun, same amount of rounds, do the same thing to all 100, and then see what happens. And that's how you gauge the reliability of a gun. For instance, my Geisley Super Duty, flawless. Nothing, not one problem. 1,600 rounds in, everything is freaking perfect. I'm in love with this rifle. However, I know people who have that gun who had issues.
This is my Geisley Super Duty. I have maybe 200 or 300 rounds of ammo through this gun, and I'm having issues, like detrimental, catastrophic issues.
So that's my review on it, but it's a sample of one. Another example, Turkey's Opinion, he had a Springfield XD M 3.8. The trigger had a problem.
My trigger is dead. It's locked. It's like jammed.
Everything on that gun was flawless until I had that one issue with that trigger. Well, because I have the same gun, I put the regular trigger back on it and put another, I don't know, was it 600? How many rounds did I have to do? I have to look it up again. I feel like I was at 600 when I put it back in, and now I'm short of 1,500. So almost 1,000 rounds, give or take 100, something like that. And I had no issues whatsoever. None. Zero. Trigger, perfect. That's not counting the rounds before I had replaced the one. I only put maybe 200 rounds through the gun when it had that one specific trigger in it. So I did that because I want, now we have a sample of two to give you an example of, right? So mine had no problems. His did. Now, let's say you get 100 Springfield XDMs, elites, 10 millimeter. All of them go through 1,000 rounds. And maybe 4 of the 100 have a trigger problem. Now you understand its reliability. Now you're able to truly gauge the issues of the guns, if they have any. Here's another example. I had 7 Glocks in my rental case. Okay. The Gen 4s had just come out. I used to manage a gun range. Of my 7 Glocks, one of them started having problems at 6,000 rounds. That's horrible. Okay. That's horrible. The rest of them, except for one, went to 60,000 rounds, no problem. Around that, give or take 10,000 rounds, right? Around the 60,000 mark is when they'd start having some issues. And they weren't huge issues. They were small issues that I was able to fix and put it back on the range. Didn't even have to take it to the gunsmith. However, one of them went clear over 100,000 rounds. It was the Glock 17. Went clear over 100,000 rounds. No problems. None. Zero. So I want you to think about that. These are 7 Glocks. One goes down at 9,000. One goes clear past 100,000. And the rest did around 60,000. So what is the average? That's how you gauge that. But when you just have a sample version of one, you can't just go off of what happened with that one person's gun. That could be just a factory freak. You might be able to get 10,000 XDM elites and only 2 out of 20,000 have a trigger issue, right? That means it's like crazy rare and, not an issue to really be concerned with. I even had a guy that would come into the range who never trusted Glocks because he bought one Glock and it gave him problems from the jump. And yet Glocks are some of the most reliable guns on the market, period. And I know that for a fact by looking at all the guns in comparison to Glocks and how reliable they are. I've seen this with my own eyes over a period of 6 years. I've seen it. I watched it. I know what's really going on. So it's just adding on to what he's saying. He's absolutely right. Like, it doesn't mean that our review doesn't mean anything, but it does mean don't take it too serious. Like, it's possible that you could get one and it doesn't work, or maybe we have one that has a problem and you get one that's flawless. I more so watch videos about reliability of guns and whatnot for other things. You know, how does it feel in your hand? This, that, and the other. And if it starts having issues, if it's, you know, a lot of issues, then I'll start looking at more reviews. Did anybody else have these issues? Right? Or is everybody else is flawless functioning? You know, you got to look at it that way. Please don't look at my reviews or his reviews and think all of them are going to do that. That's not how it works, or anybody's reviews. We are giving you some insight. We know that it's possible that an XDM trigger can have an issue. That's possible. It might be 1 out of a million, but it's still possible. And that's basically what you're getting. It's possible that the Geisley Super Duty can go 1,600 rounds and not have one single issue and just have perfect ejection the entire way. Doesn't mean one can't go horribly wrong and after 30 rounds. So just want to throw that out there. Reliability, you want to look at that from an eagle eye's vision. The eagle can look down and see the forest all in one view, one glance. You can see the whole forest. But the squirrel sees one tree at a time. Well, I mean,